Can you imagine a time before your favorite podcasts, before streaming music, before even the radio in your car? Just a century ago, the airwaves over Ireland were silent. But that was all about to change. Let's travel back to November 1925, a pivotal moment in Irish history. Dublin's Grand Mansion House was buzzing with excitement, hosting the Wireless Exhibition. This was the tech expo of its day, showcasing the magical new technology of radio that promised to transform how Ireland communicated and entertained itself. On November 11th, the Minister for Posts and Telegraphs, a proud Cork man named J.J. Walsh, officially opened the exhibition. He knew this new venture was a fragile one. He pleaded with the public for support. Not what he called destructive criticism. His message was clear and simple. Any kind of Irish station is better than no station at all. He understood that for this national project to succeed, it needed the people behind it. Little did they know, they were just days away from making history. Then, on November 14th, at exactly 6:45 in the evening, it happened. A crackle, a hiss, and then a voice cut through the static, echoing across the country. So SEO, station, RN, Bailey, Atha, Cliath, AG Trial. This is to RN Dublin testing. Ireland's first ever radio transmission was live. The man behind that historic voice was Seamus Hughes, the station's official announcer. But Hughes was much more than just a man with a good voice. He was a true Renaissance man of his time. Fluent in both Irish and French, he was deeply involved in the cultural and political life of the new Irish state. He had been a member of the Irish Republican Brotherhood, fought in the 1913 lockout, and stood with Thomas MacDonagh in Jacob's factory during the 1916 Easter Rising. He'd been arrested, interned in England, and upon his release, joined the new civil service. He even ran for office, though he lost to a future Taoist seat, Sean Lemass. His voice, however, was destined for a different kind of national stage. Hughes was also a well-known tenor and had the honor of being the first person to publicly sing the Soldier's Song, the very anthem that would become our beloved Amren Na Be Fine. His appointment wasn't without debate. Some politicians worried about the immense possibilities of propaganda by means of wireless broadcasting, but his position was secured. And with that, the voice of a revolutionary became the voice of the nation's airwaves. Those very first broadcasts weren't just about testing the equipment. They were also about funding the dream. One of the earliest messages sent out was a direct appeal to listeners, which you could argue was the very first advertisement on Irish radio. The announcement went something like this: "This is 2RN, the Dublin Broadcasting Station." That was good, wasn't it? But we have more treats in store for you. Only remember, no licenses, no program. The station's entire future depended on the public buying radio licenses. The government's funding was tied directly to those sales, so there was a real sense of urgency. The fate of 2RN literally rested in the hands of its listeners. As the station geared up for its official launch, a dedicated team was put in place. Seamus Clandillon, an expert on Irish folk music and a passionate advocate for the Irish language, was appointed station director. Clandillon was a cultural visionary, even credited by some with creating the Sealy as we know it. He was determined to use this new medium of radio to breathe new life into the Irish language and traditions. His wife, the talented singer Magred Ní Anagane, also became a familiar voice. Whenever there was a gap in the schedule, she would step up to the microphone to sing. She was on so often that she earned the affectionate nickname Magred Ní Anagane. Rounding out this core team was the musical director, Vincent O'Brien. O'Brien was a legendary figure in his own right, having been the music teacher to both the world-famous tenor John McCormack and the literary giant James Joyce. During the test broadcasts, O'Brien and Clandillon would often perform together, giving early listeners a taste of the cultural richness to come. The mood was overwhelmingly optimistic. An editorial in the Irish Independent predicted that the Dublin Broadcasting Station would be the seed of a welcome revolution in the social life of Ireland, more especially of rural Ireland. For the first time, people in even the most remote parts of the country could be connected, entertained, and informed by a single, unified voice. It was a truly revolutionary prospect. But, as with any new technology, not everyone was a fan. As 2RN's test signals filled the air, some listeners were less than thrilled. Their complaint: the new Irish station was interfering with their ability to tune into English broadcasts. One annoyed listener wrote a letter to the newspaper, signing off as polyglot, and declared, "I, for one, shall not renew my license if the Dublin wavelength crowds out the English and foreign stations." The criticism didn't stop there. Another listener, who identified themselves with the witty name Cat's Whisker, wrote with sharp humor, saying they couldn't join the chorus of praise. They complained that hearing selections from Mauritania filled them with homicidal thoughts, and from down in Cork. A letter signed Corkonian described the early broadcasts as nothing short of a perfect pandemonium of howls. It's clear that getting the signal just right was a major challenge in those early days. Taming this pandemonium of howls fell to a team of dedicated engineers. Trained at the School of Wireless Telegraphy in Cork, Beattie joined 2RN as an assistant engineer in 1924. He worked under the station's chief engineer, T.J. Monaghan, who was in charge of the entire technical launch. Beattie would go on to become a key figure, managing many of 2RN's first-ever outside broadcasts. His expertise was so valued that he later helped establish Ireland's second station. 6CK, which began broadcasting from the old women's jail overlooking Cork City in 1927. The original plan was for 2RN to officially launch on December 20th, 1925, just in time for Christmas. But, as often happens with ambitious projects, there were delays. The studios, located on Little Denmark Street, weren't quite ready. So, the grand opening was pushed back to New Year's Day, 1926. On that day, Douglas Hyde, founder of the Gaelic League and the future first president of Ireland. From that moment on, radio became a fixture in Irish homes, a constant companion that brought the nation together. It was described as being almost like a friendly piece of furniture. The sheer magic of this new invention was perfectly captured by the great playwright Brian Friel in his play, Dancing at Lughnasadh. He recalled the feeling of listening to his family's first radio. There, Marconi, describing his first delight, indeed my awe, at the sheer magic of that radio. For countless families, that little wooden box brought the world into their living rooms in a way they had never experienced before. Over the years, the station, which would later become Radio Éireann, continued to grow and shape the nation's identity. One of its key champions was Patrick J. Little, who was the longest-serving minister for posts and telegraphs. He was instrumental in creating the Radio Éireann Symphony Orchestra, a testament to the station's commitment to high culture. Years later, looking back on its legacy, he said, "Irish broadcasting is the everyday story of the new Ireland, spoken with its own voice, and that's what it was, and what it remains today." The story of 2RN is the story of a new nation finding its voice, sharing its culture, and connecting its people. From those first crackling test transmissions to the vibrant and diverse soundscape of modern Irish radio, that voice, born of revolution and nurtured by artists, continues to resonate. It's a voice that is vibrant, distinct, and unmistakably Irish. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.